All right, we're here with Lucy Savant. Lucy, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, but I'll do a little intro myself. I think we met quite a long time ago. It seems like we were just talking a minute ago, 2013, and you were taking private lessons at Marlborough School's summer program with me, and um, that turned into so much more, from private lessons to bands and things I'm sure we'll talk about. But why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Okay, yeah, so I'm Lucy Savant. Like Chris said, I've been taking lessons from him since 2013. I was 8. I'm now 16, and I play guitar and I sing both in a band. And yeah.
That's pretty darn cool. So when you started taking music lessons, and I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to say, but what was the most challenging part of learning to play the guitar? Um, what would you say?
Right when we started, I started to learn Blackbird by the Beatles, and that's a song that made me want to quit guitar. I couldn't get it down, but now I can play it like the back of my hand. I think that was the hardest thing right in the beginning.
I had the same thing happen with Blackbird, but when I started playing guitar, it was the F chord. I could not get that little finger to bar over the first two strings. And I told my dad, I was like, I'm going to quit. And he was like, that's fine. Just get that F chord down and show it to me. And whenever you've got it, we'll cancel the lessons and you can quit. And I was like, that seems like a fair deal.
Yeah.
And well, here we are 30 years later. So you obviously did master Blackbird. What kept you going with lessons even though you were so frustrated with that?
I think my mom. I think she would always tell me that like if I stopped playing, I would regret it, and that my siblings all regret stop playing instruments, and I was just kind of blackmailed into it. But I appreciate the blackmail. It worked.
So where do you think the point was where it went from being kind of frustrating to rewarding and fun?
Once I started to learn chords and I knew that I could like put them together to learn songs, I think that was like the turning point, and I was finally able to. I knew there was like an end to all my struggling.
Ah, okay. And how long do you think that took?
Um, Not too long, but the beginning was definitely tough. But I think it's cool that I get to like keep learning new things all the time, that I can still have that struggle and still end up figuring it out.
Yeah, I love that part of it. So now you had started with just lessons and then started doing performances with SoundLife after, I don't know how long, not too long. I mean, pretty quickly into taking lessons, you started getting on stage. And in the beginning, you were getting on stage either by yourself or with some other students that you were just kind of jumping in with and then playing. And this is before you had your own band or anything. Talk a little bit about those experiences.
Yeah, it was super cool to be able to finally be on stage and perform the stuff that I've been working on. But my favorite part about it was being up there with other musicians, even if it wasn't my own band, because I just liked it was just super fun. I liked being up there and like working off of each other and stuff. And it like makes the whole experience of being on stage just so much better.
Now, did you have nerves? Were you scared at all of performing, or was that never a thing?
I probably yes, definitely some nerves. But it kind of all goes away once you're up there. I think I still do get nerves just like before I go on. I feel like I just have some stress about like messing up or I don't know, forgetting something, but once you're up there, it's all just having fun playing with other people.
I love that, and that's definitely the philosophy. You can get nervous and put all the work in, but the cool thing about playing live is once it's done, it's done. You let it go,
Yeah.
and whatever happened happened. To this day, I still get super nervous. I mean, I It's like, it's not nervous, like I don't know how it's gonna go. It's more like there's like the roller coaster feeling, like as you're climbing up the hill. I love
Yeah,
that feeling.
that has
Um,
to be super fun.
yeah. Okay. So now let's move from you got on stage, realized you liked playing with other people, and then comes your own band. How did this band come about? Talk a little bit about the band and what what that has meant to you.
Yeah, so three of us in a band called TBD, which we've been playing together for I think 4 years now. Three of us went to school together, so that was just we kind of scraped it together. Of we all played at school, we all knew we played instruments, and we had known each other for a while. We all kind of live in the same neighborhood, so at one like family party, we started playing in our drummer's living room, just messing around, and then that just kind of became a permanent thing. We thought, let's just start a band. And one of my friends from outside of school that I had also known all my life, I asked him to join, and that was just super fun being able to see a band come from nothing to just pulling it together and learning a bunch of covers, even writing our own originals. Like it was just a super fun experience.
That's awesome. So now you and Chase and Antonio went to school together, but you know Nick
Yeah.
from way before. How did you know Nick?
Yeah. Nikki and I went way back. So I think I've known Nikki since I was like 3 or 4. His older brother and my older brother played baseball together as kids. So we just kind of grew up on a baseball field together, and we'd spend like every single weekend together at tournaments. So he's definitely like one of my closest friends.
And he just happened to play keyboards and sing and be
Yes.
like the
Just
perfect addition
happens
to the band.
He happens to be my most talented. He's incredible. I I was gifted.
So now you've got this band where in the beginning you were the only person singing. If you don't remember correctly, Nick didn't even want to sing at the beginning, and
Yeah,
Chase absolutely refused. So you were the sole singer, and now you've got over the time that became a band where everybody sings, takes turns singing, and sings three-part harmonies. So
yeah.
talk about that transition.
We had to Chris and I had to like force the other boys into singing because they just weren't into it in the beginning. We made a rule that if you chose a song, you had to end up singing it. So all of the songs that you wanted to play in the band, you had to sing it. And I think that was like the first time that Chase got to a mic, first time that Nikki got to a mic, and it like kind of ended up working that way. And eventually they decided, you know what, like we can do this. It's not that bad, and they're both very talented vocalists. So I don't know what was holding them back, but
And
good
we've done
to
so many performances now. You can see the growth. I mean, Chase was very
yeah,
nervous at first, and then got more confident and stronger. You got stronger and stronger. Everybody did. And then I remember you brought in "Don't Stop Me Now" by Queen. And I think that's when we really took harmonies to another level because they were
yeah.
so
We
complicated.
we worked out 3-part harmonies for that song, and that took forever. Those were the hardest harmonies that all of us collectively had to do together. Before every show, before we would play that song, we'd like sit on the side and just run those harmonies. And our drummer Antonio, who doesn't sing, would just have to sit through it all.
Yeah, but that's great. That's building, the band like camaraderie. That's so important. But what I remember from that is that after that song, all the other harmonies that people were nervous about or not sure of were so easy. We started putting them on
Yeah,
everything without thinking twice about it. And I mean, it never went back. From that point on, everybody sang, you know, on most songs. So now talk about this. The band plays tons of covers and then moves into starting to write original music. And this kind of happens around the time of the pandemic. Um,
mhm.
how did that come together where everybody's kind of contributing in some way to these songs?
Yeah, so right in the beginning of the pandemic, actually before it had started, Nick was writing his own originals that he would bring into the band and say, like, let's play this song that I wrote. And I think that was Ready to Go was our very first original that Nick had written, but we would add some things to it to kind of like make it TBD's original. And then as the pandemic hit, we continued to write originals and kind of took that time away to really work on our songwriting, how we recorded. All of us were recording our own parts individually through our laptops into Logic, just like sitting in our bedrooms. And I think that was super cool because that was like, at least for me, that was the first time that I'd ever like worked like that. And it was really cool to be able to see a song come from nothing to something all the way, like just from us.
Yeah, and so during that period of time, you ended up being very, very productive, and you ended up with 3 or 4 original songs that were recorded.
Yeah.
I think 4 music videos, a lot of things that you'll have forever. And now you are let's go into like current. You are going into junior year high school.
I am.
The band is changing a little bit. You have Nick graduated from high school and is in college now, and Austin's coming to the band, and the band is going to probably take on a new name and maybe some new direction. And in terms of seniority, the 3 of you who are still in the band are going to carry this torch on. How do you feel about that?
I'm excited. I'm obviously bummed that Nikki's in college now. That was pretty sad right as it happened. But he doesn't need to know that I was sad about that. And then getting Austin into the band, Chase's little brother, that's a whole new dynamic. Austin and Chase together they're just goofballs, and all of us feeding off of each other is just such a fun dynamic, and I can't wait to like keep working with all 3 of them, and seeing like the new direction that this new band takes. I think we're gonna get a new name because TBD was in the past now. So
I like the idea. I don't,
yeah,
TBD. That will be its own thing,
yeah.
and this will be a new thing. So now, for you, you're in your junior year, then you're gonna have 1 more year of high school, and I'm sure in your mind you're already thinking of colleges and thinking of what you want to do next, and planning that course out. What role do you think music is going to play in the next chapter of your life?
I think it's always something that I'll like have with me. I think playing with friends will obviously just be the number one in my mind. Like, I don't think it'll become a career of mine, but I think having music in my back pocket will always be a good thing. And I don't think I'll put it down or anything.
So you think you'll always have that skill just to.
Yes, I do.
I love that. And what, in terms of how you play guitar, you sing, you play some piano. Your mom obviously has a background in music and huge background in performance, and you've translated this into some musical theater and acting and things like that. How do you think all of this artistic exposure, these experiences, have shaped kind of you as a person?
I don't know. I feel like it's been really good to keep me well-rounded, I guess. I feel like everyone should learn an instrument at some part in their life. It's something that not only has kept me busy, but has always just been good to have. It's always been good for parties, whenever people come over to play with friends. It's something that's been very fun to have in my whole life. So
Well,
definitely
and in
keeping
the
it.
dynamic of like our SoundLife community and the shows that you've played for school, like the Palooza and things like that,
Yeah.
TBD at one point were the younger kids, and there were older kids, and then TBD became the older kids, and now you are the oldest kids.
Oldest kids. That's crazy
So,
to think about.
what is that like? I mean, was it inspiring when you were younger and let's say the
Yeah.
trips or some of the older students were playing? Was that inspiring, intimidating? Did you like being a part
Yeah,
of that?
Yeah, I was just about to mention the trips, but they were the oldest at the time when we were just starting as TBD. They were the first three people who I played on stage with at all at SoundLife. And just like being able to watch them play and thinking, oh man, like I want to sound like they do one day, or like, oh, we're gonna be the oldest one day. That's just super good. It was super cool to just like idolize them when we were just starting, and it's crazy to think how now we're the oldest. So hopefully we can serve as some sort of something for
We,
the younger ones to look up
you
to.
are, you guys already are. You already are and have been for quite some time. So now, what the role of having someone like a band coach, like myself, or
Yeah.
some of our, our other team members, what has that helped the band? Do you think that that keeps the band productive? What?
Yes. I think you well know that rehearsals without you don't really go very well. We normally on the days that you aren't there, we end up playing spike ball. But I feel like having you around has really helped us stay super productive. You always keep us on track. You are, just like what we need to be doing, and like having you there is a staple. Bandmaster Chris, BMC.
That yeah, I do. I love that name actually. And whenever you guys all graduate, I'm gonna miss that deeply. I think Antonio gave me a little statue years ago that says BMC from one of his trips to Mexico with the family, and that is right here on my desk. And I just love that. All right. So, well, thank you for taking this time, Lucy. I can't wait to hear what TBD does next. They're going to be on stage. We are back at our showcases at Zebulon in December. So we're going to have live music again. And I don't know what that's going to look like because you guys have to pick all new songs.
Oh, great. Wow. Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
And you're going to be the headliners. So this should be quite interesting. Is there anything you want to add or share? Any insight that might help a younger student or someone just starting?
Just keep going, even when you think this is the end of the world. I promise it's not. It always gets better.